Hello and welcome to another edition of Andy's Shed Live, this time for Sunday the 21st of May 2017, and this is episode 10. Yay, we've reached the big 10 and they said we'd never last. Hello, good evening, welcome to the show. It's another Sunday evening. It is 7 o'clock, I can even hear a clock chiming in the background. And we are exactly on time tonight. We have got a packed show for you with one or two interesting things on the show tonight as well, including over my shoulder here. See this phone case here? There's something very interesting about that phone case. Can you spot what is interesting about it? We'll be telling you more about that a little bit later in the show, but just off the top of the show, remember, if you want to know more about Andy's Shed and about the live show, or if you want to contact us, you can do, and you can do it by going to our All Singing All Dancing website, which is here. It's andyshed.wordpress.com. That's andyshed.wordpress.com. Go to that website and you'll find a contact us form and that, so you can get in touch with the show, as one or two people have been doing actually over the last couple of weeks or so. If any of you have left like comments on the videos on YouTube and stuff, or you've got in touch with us via the website, anybody who I've not got back to yet, I promise you, you are on my to-do list. But my to-do list is quite long at the moment, so I will get back to you all, I promise, in due course. Now we've got a couple of things on the show today, as well as that phone case up there, that we're going to be telling you something really interesting about. Anybody who restores telephones, you're going to want to stick around with this show today, because we're going to show you something that some people say can't be done today, but also, as promised, we have got video from Heage Windmill from their spring track day, which took place a few weeks ago. Now, well, there's going to be a full video of this coming out in due course, but today we thought we'd just show you a few of the highlights, if you like. So this is just a little bit of the unedited footage from Heage Windmill's spring tractor day that took place a few weeks ago now. So here we are, and you see the windmill there in the background, and some of the tractors and the stationary engines that were on display there. There were a few old cars as well, but it was mainly tractors and stationary engines. And flying above us that morning was this. Now, it's a drone. It's a DJI Phantom drone that is used by one of the guys at the windmill. I think it's one of the guys that is a volunteer at the windmill there. And he takes some amazing footage with this drone. We've just lost it there out the camera shot. Ah, there it is. And yeah, he takes lots of pictures with this drone. And he was up. It was a beautiful sort of sunny morning, and so he was taking the opportunity to get some great camera shots of the event, because what is normally their car park at the windmill was full of vintage tractors and stationary engines and one or two other bits and pieces as well. So it was taking the full advantage of the day, and I thought I'd check out my camera operating skills and try and follow that drone. So here's some of the stationary engines on display. You'll see a Wolseley there, and a Ruston Hornsby, I think it is. And coming into view there's a Petra A1 running some lights, a couple of Lister Ds, including one on a very nice pump there. And here's the A1 that I took. This is the Petra A1 that I took, and it's running a little vintage planer that I often take to the rallies. It's a good thing to take to the rallies, that planer, because it's nice and light for the engine to run. And there's another Lister D with a very unusual flywheel on it. That belongs to a guy from Matlock, that one. And as you can see, the windmill has got its sails back now. It had its sails off for a while last year. They got put back on over last summer, and it's now in full operation. Interestingly, it was the opposite way around this time to how it was last time we went. When we went in the autumn, it was 180 degrees round from where it is there, but the wind was obviously blowing in a different direction this time, so the windmill was the opposite way around. And here's just some of the tractors on display. There seems to get more and more each year. Some restored, some not, but I think most of them got there under their own steam. And a few bits and pieces there for sale. Somebody looking at them and deciding whether he wants to buy. And that is a little taste of what was going off over there at Heage Windmill a few weeks ago. So a big thank you to everybody at the windmill for holding those tractor days. They do 2 a year. They do one in the spring and they do one in the autumn, towards the end of the summer, early autumn time. And they're great fun and a great day out to go to if you want to go somewhere a little bit different. And they also mill their own flour, and we've been eating bread made with the flour here for about 3 weeks now, so it's really good. So go and support them. They're all volunteers. It's all a volunteer organisation that runs and maintains the windmill there. So if you get a chance, pop along and see them and buy a bit of flour or something off them to keep the sales turning. So yeah, brilliant. Good old Heage Windmill. Right, what else have we got? What else has been happening this week? Well, we've got 1 or 2 new things this week. As usual, there's been a package. A phone has turned up this week, and we've got a new package. So shall I have a look? Right, I will just grab it. Here you go. This one has turned up this week. This phone. Now, this is we think it's from Belgium. This, made by Bell in Antwerp, the division of Bell in Antwerp, and it's quite a nice thing. It's really heavy. It's a metal case on this, a cast metal case. Really heavy thing. But this has turned up this week. Now, I've put this line code on it that you can see here, but I'm not sure how to wire it up. Apparently these phones had lots of different wiring diagrams over time, and I've not quite figured out which one that this is yet. So it still needs wiring up inside, but we'll do a bit of more research and we'll find out which diagram it should be. There is like a wiring diagram on the base of the phone, but I think the base of the phone has got swapped at some time and doesn't tally with what's inside. So so that is just one of the things that's arrived this week. So I've got to pick it up again now. It's blooming heavy. This is really heavy. It's unbelievably heavy. No wonder they put a carrying handle on it. See, it has a carrying handle like that. It fits down there when it's not in use, but I'll put that back where it was. So that's one of the things that's arrived here this week. Also, we've got another trim phone. Where are you? This trim phone turned up this week. A push button trim phone. So that has arrived this week. Now you'll notice on this was sort of, I think they call them grey. I don't think they call them ivory when they're trim phones. I think they call it grey, the colour. But as you'll see, this is faded. Now, as a lot of you will know with phones, when we call it faded, it actually goes a darker colour. It fades dark, not light. I tend to call it suntanned, but it's what happens when they get exposed to sunlight. And you can see there the original colour where the handset's been resting on it, but the rest of it you'll see is a much darker colour. And that's what happens, and that's because the plastic case, I'll put it back down again, that's because the plastic case is made out of something called ABS. It's a type of plastic called ABS, and it goes that dark colour with age. And people thought there was no way of altering that. People thought there was no way of getting rid of that dark colour and that, until a process came along a little while ago called the retrobright process. And I think it started with people who collect old computers who started doing it, because if you remember things like Commodore VIC-20s from the 1980s and stuff like that, you'll remember they were sort of off-white creamy colour originally, and they've faded to a sort of browny colour these days, a bit like that phone has, but the computers tend to go worse. And they invented this thing called the retrobright process, which uses basically chemicals which you make into a kind of paste and then put on the thing and then leave it in bright sunlight. It needs ultraviolet rays to make it work, basically, to activate it, and it will lighten things again. Now the jury's out as to how well it works long term, because some people say it fades back to the dark colour, it gets the tan back quite quickly after it's been done. Some people have more luck with the process in the first place than others. For some people it works quite well, for others it doesn't work very well. But the main problem with the retrobright process, whether you make it into a paste or whether you make a liquid that you dip the thing in a solution and, you know, like a bucket, and then you immerse the plastic in it, whichever way you do it, it takes a long time. It takes like at least a couple of days very often to do. So we were out looking for a faster way of doing it. We were out looking for a different way that we could do it, and we think we may have found it. So if you want to know more about that, stick with us, because I'll tell you more right after this break. Hello there, welcome back to Andy's Shed Live, and for this episode 10. Can you believe that we have been on for 10 episodes? It's been more than 10 weeks because we have missed a couple of weeks in there, but yeah, hello and welcome to the show. If you've not seen us before, hello and welcome aboard, glad you found us. My name's Andy Cooper and I'm at the helm of this show basically every week, except for when we're not here, which happens occasionally when we're out and about recording other stuff. But generally every week we're here around about 7 o'clock on a Sunday evening to give you some restoration tips and tricks and techniques for whatever interesting vintage things you happen to be restoring. We do a lot of telephones here, but we do other things as well. For instance, old buttons off a tramway uniform, and that we're going to be showing you how to polish those up in weeks to come. And there's all kinds of other things as well. You've just seen the stationary engines out there at Heage Windmill, and we go round all the rallies in the summer with the old stationary engines. I'm at Cromford Canal in a few weeks' time, so if you want to catch us there, in fact, is it next weekend? It's next weekend even. It's next weekend. It's Sunday next week. I'm at Cromford Canal, and also remember, also next weekend on Saturday. That it will be Saturday the 27th, will it? 21st? 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, yes, 27th, Saturday the 27th of May. It's the Repair Cafe as well over at Healy City Farm there in Sheffield. So if you've got anything broken and you don't know how to mend it and you'd like to mend it, get over to Healy City Farm in Sheffield next Saturday the 27th of May from 10 o'clock onwards, and the Repair Cafe team, including my good self, will be there to show you how to fix things. So, you know, save money, don't stick stuff in landfill, and, you know, everyone's a winner. Right, I promised you before the break that we were going to show you something amazing about this, and an alternative cleaning process to Retro Bright. Well, this phone case is a really good example. I've done this afternoon, right? Just this afternoon, after I've come in. I went to a car boot sale this morning. I was there till about 2 o'clock this afternoon actually, and then I've done this phone case, and you will see that a part of it is clean. If I switch this to the other camera, then you'll be able to see it a bit better. There you go. Right, this was originally a grey phone case. It was originally that grey, or that grey. You see on the inside, you can, because the inside doesn't fade, obviously it doesn't get this suntan on it, because it doesn't get exposed to the sunlight. But with it being ABS plastic, and the earlier ones don't have this problem, because the early cases were made out of a plastic called Diacon, which is a kind of perspex, and that doesn't have this tanning problem. But later cases were supposedly stronger, because Diacon cracks quite easily. You know, it breaks like bone china, Diacon. So they swapped it to ABS, but unfortunately ABS has this discolouring problem. So it goes this kind of browny colour, and this one's not actually too bad. There are worse ones. I've seen far worse ones than this. This one's not actually too bad, but you can see here where the handset's been sat that it's a lighter colour, and here you see it's a darker colour, but on the front it's back to its original grey, and that's because I've restored that to that grey this afternoon. And just to prove it, I've just done half of the front here, and as you can see, here's the half I've done, and here's the half I've not done, and I've done that this afternoon. I didn't dip it in anything. I didn't have to put any sort of paste on it and put it in a plastic bag or leave it in the sun or anything like that. I did that this afternoon, and I don't know if you can see how good the shine is on it as well. I'm hoping you can see that shine on it if I get it in the right light. Now, I'm not going to tell you right now exactly how we did this, but I will tell you that coming up this week, I've made a video earlier today that will show you how this is done. So watch out for that video coming out, the alternative to the Retro Bright process using acetone, believe it or not. And I'll show you how we did this in that video, which will be uploading this coming week. So you'll be able to see how we've partially restored this case, and I'm going to carry on and do the rest of it, because I've done the front here and I've done half of the bottom bit there, but it still needs obviously the sides and the back doing. And you'll see from the back how bad the tanning is, because there was a transfer on here that said telephone rentals, and I tried the Retro Bright process on this. I tried the dipping it in liquid, because one version of Retro Bright is where you put the phone in liquid. You know, there's one version where you make a paste and put it on it, but there's another version where you're supposed to get a more even application by making it into a solution in a bucket and then dipping the whole shell in it, in the solution. Well, I tried that, and as you can see, it's still like this. And the main reason is because we don't get enough sunshine in Britain, because you need those strong rays from the sun. I think it's the ultraviolet in it that you need, that makes the Retro Bright process work. And of course it didn't work on this because we don't get enough sunshine. But what it did do was it made this transfer fall off, much to my disappointment, because the transfer was quite nice. But I've learnt from that, so we'll have to put a reproduction transfer on there. But it does show nicely how discoloured they go with sunlight. So watch out this week for the video of the alternative to retro bright coming up here on this channel and this shed, and we'll show you how we did it. And that bit on the front of there, that little bit in the video, we do that in real time in the video, and it literally takes 5 minutes maybe, if that, to go from that to that. And yeah, you can see the shine on it there, look. And there was no sanding involved either, because until recently, one way you could do it was by sanding, and I have got one here that I sanded down. Just let me get this. This phone I sanded, this one, but it's not brilliant because there's no shine on it at all, because this is now sanded down, because this was really yellowy, and it's supposed to be this ivory colour, so this is the colour it's supposed to be now. And I sanded all this down, and it's not got much of a shine. It's very dull at the moment, but we're going to be doing experiments with that one as well, another experiment to restore the shine to it. But as you can see, there's no shine on that at all. You know, it doesn't catch the light at all. So yeah, right, I'll put that one back. I'm doing a lot of turning around today, sorry about that. So that is it. That about wraps it up for another Andy's Shed Live. A big thank you to everybody who is supporting the channel and who is watching. Remember, give us a like, and if you're not subscribed already, please do so. The more people who subscribe to the channel, the better it gets. It really does help when you subscribe and stuff, and when you give us a like, because more people find us then and add us to playlists and things. So it's a massive help, and of course it costs you nothing, nada, note, as they say around these parts. So if you can subscribe and like and spread the word, that would be brilliant. And remember, if you want to find out more about us when we're not on air, you can always go to the website. andyshed.wordpress.com is the place to go, and you'll find a contact us form there, and you'll find a few articles about some of the other restoration projects that we do, because it's not just telephones, but you'll find stuff about the cargo bike that I built, and about the stationary engines, and all kinds of other things there as well. And that website is going to get a fairly major update as well quite soon, because we're going to be putting some of the telephone stuff on there and some other things as well. So watch out for that updating very soon. Right, that is about it for another day. It only remains for me to say have a great week out there. Remember, watch out for that alternative to retro bright video coming up this coming week, and we'll see you back here next week, same time, same place. Remember, Repair Cafe, Healy City Farm, this coming Saturday if you're in the Sheffield area, and if you're anywhere near Cromford Meadows or Matlock, get yourself down to the Cromford Canal on Sunday, and I'll see you down there, all being well. But from all of us here for now, remember, give us a like and give us a subscription, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.